Hi, I'm Barbara Fiametta. Well, I'm here again, and I was prepared, and now I don't feel prepared. It is April 5th, 2026. It is Resurrection Day, Easter, and my last, hello everybody. I hate to go right into anything serious. I just want to say hi. And keep in mind, I'm looking at myself. I'm talking to myself. And I watch the glasses and one eyebrow. Usually my eyebrow is higher. Maybe because I slept on a good bed last night. It makes a difference. Okay, you know what? I'll do this. I'll do it a little backwards. I have my television show for you. I usually start it with tips, but I'll tell you right now. If you have, I am contorted from back issues, walking all day, just my body's just out of balance. So it's actually affected me neurologically in my spine and my eyes. I used to have big eyes. So I'm praying this will heal. But one thing is, if you notice like one eye is higher than the other or one eyebrow is higher than the other, you probably are imbalanced and need a chiropractic adjustment, or one leg is longer than the other, or your spine is out. And just from sleeping on a better bed these last couple of days, I can see that this eyebrow is usually up here. So my tip of the day is, don't wait until you have a really bad back to get a really good bed. I always had a firm Stearns and Foster bed. And I got firm. And right now in my assisted living, my bed goes like this. And sometimes I can't even walk when I get off the bed. I need my walker. So I can tell the difference, because it's the difference between being able to walk and not, when my spine goes in here. But if you have a good spine, don't wait for your vertebrae and don't wait for spinal stenosis. Get a good bed while you're healthy. And if you're already having back problems, get a really great bed. I don't have one. That's why I can tell you how important it is, because I'm paying the price. So that's my tip of the day. I have a news flash. I have entertainment. And then I have spiritual news. But I'll wait. I'm so excited. I had someone in a music store actually help me. Well, he taught me how to upload my podcasts. And, he just made it so easy. It was like boom, 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 boom. So it was so exciting to be able to do that. So I'm going to upload them. I did lose my first couple of them. I'm so upset. Facebook drops them in 30 days. And my cutest one with my pigtails is gone. I love that one. It was so joyful. It was so cute. And it was so me. It was so the Barbara that I have kind of been missing. I've been missing. So 30 days for Facebook. And you have to catch them before that if you want to upload them to any of the media things. So basically, I've been silent all weekend. I've been by myself, and I'm in this cruddy room that I have to fake my mind out that I'm not smelling what I'm smelling. I'm in a horrific situation living, and I have no doubt the eviction's coming. And I asked for it. Something that I did, and I knew it would spark that. My prayer is, and I'm going to put this out to you guys. I've had 3 opportunities to close down 3 separate nursing facilities. I didn't have the money for an attorney. I actually went the distance in research, legally and writing, but you just need an attorney. So this place needs to be shut down too. It's horrific, and I'm going to be uploading what my room looks like. And once again, I ask God, why do you show me these things? Why do you put me in these situations where I can't go the distance with my evidence? They always win because they pay everybody off to lie. The city, the state, the police, 911, they pay these people off to deny what's going on here. This building is so out of code. Anyway, guys, I'm frustrated because I'm put in these situations. I see clearly. I'm smart enough to harness the evidence, and then I just can't go the next level. And I'm declaring this is the last time I'm in one of these places. Yeah, I'm only here because I'm in LA. I can't afford an apartment here. And, I don't know that I want to leave LA, but I don't know that I want to leave the US either, but I'm contemplating it. So, what a way to open. Okay, so this is a good place to start. Should we call in the light first? I know what I have to start with. Okay, so let's just do our little, I can never see there's so many things on the bottom. I never know what you can see. So I'll put it there. So let's go. Close your eyelids if you like. And just take a deep breath in. And let it out slowly. And take a deep breath in again. And this time, take a deep breath in and pay attention to your breath. The inhale and the outhale. Just pay attention. So I won't do the prayer. What I will share is that breath that you just took is the only evidence you need that there is a source, that there is something very loving and very creative and very life-giving that exists, and we just experienced it, the breath. That is all we need as evidence that there is a higher power. Everything else is a bonus. So the breath, the breath, the breath, the breath. If you'd like to do another exercise with me, as evidence that God is real, I would like you to take another deep, deep breath, and I want you to just hold it. Just keep holding it until I say stop. So by now, I should have lost all of you because all of you are probably out of breath. If there's anyone still holding your breath, then you must be I have to start this podcast over. If you are still holding your breath, then you are evidence that God is not real and that you have total will to hold your breath. The point of that exercise was to prove to us that we can't hold our breath. When God says no more, that'll be the last exhale. So much proof, I should say so little proof is needed for us to know that there's something else much bigger than us that's running the show, but does give us free will and does allow us to ask him for help and for guidance, and we get it. So much for my hammy, my hammy examples. So I didn't finish. So amen, amen, amen. So I'd like to talk to you about shticks. There is a Yiddish word, shtick. I had to look, I know the word well, but I didn't know how to spell it. So I looked it up somewhere here. I think it was S-C-H-T-I-C-K, shtick. Yeah, this is a word I've heard many times in New York. A shtick. Okay, so I don't know, maybe you guys know about podcasts better than me, but I've been watching more podcasts just to see if I'm recreating a wheel, which I don't want to do, or if I have something different to share. So in the process, I'm running into a lot of podcasts, and what I didn't know, but again, you probably all know this, when a speaker asks you to comment on their podcasts or their reels, what they're looking for is they're not interested in your answers. When they tell you, let me know a word of how you're feeling today, they don't care how you're feeling. They're never going to read it. They just want their numbers. Facebook counts how many people are paying attention to them. And the more people that pay attention to them, potentially they make money. So I've run into podcasts that have followings of thousands of people, thousands. And the ones that are really high up there are making the big bucks. Now, I know of 3 women that I've been watching. And so what they do is they get on for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Not even 5, no, 3 minutes. And they'll say something for 3 minutes and they'll come on 5 times a day. And what they're doing is getting numbers. And potentially money. And of course, if they want exposure, of course, So today I was looking at some of them and the word shtick came up to mind. So I'll tell you what the definition of I know what a shtick is, but I couldn't get the definition. So a gimmick, a shtick is a gimmick. It is kind of like a comedy routine, maybe. And I think the one that I'm seeing on the podcast is, it's like a trademark. It's like when they come on, they do something or say something that they say all the time so that you recognize them. So this is all well and good. I'm not judging it at all, but I'm just noticing. But there is something I am judging. I am judging something. In my field, I feel like a lot of the information is incorrect. And I'm tempted to write them and say, what the F are you talking about? Like, are you doing your inner work? Are you just quoting books? So I'm going through that stage right now. And then I had to calm myself down and say, Barbara, you just express yourself, stay in your own lane, and let people be. But for those of you that don't know that, is, yeah, it does kind of piss me off because I've never heard one podcaster say, if you comment on my podcast, it'll give me more points with Facebook. No one says that honestly. And to me, that's a lack of integrity. I feel manipulated when someone says, no, tell me what your favorite color is. And I feel like, well, you don't care what my favorite color is. You just want like another ding on your Facebook. I don't mind doing it. If I really like the person, I'd love to support them. But tell us the truth. Tell us the truth. Now, I don't have to deal with that because I don't have anything here that you can do. I think, I really don't know. I know I've had some people, if I put it in a certain place on Facebook, I can see my friends see it. But, so I'm not there yet. So the podcasts, the shticks, oh my God. I guess what disturbs me most about the shticks is if you look at the answers, let me back up. If you want to get a sense of the level of intellect, I'm going to say this, of our people, I won't even say the US because people are plugging in from all over the world. If you really want to know and take the temperature of the level, the emotional IQs and the intellectual, IQs, read the comments on some of these podcasts. Read the comments on some of your posts. What is this? Something. Hold it. Something is happening here. Oh, Tom. Hi, Tom. I can't see you. So shticks. I forgot where I was. I can't believe that someone's actually watching this. Tom, I can't believe you're watching. Call me. So shticks. So read the comments and you'll get a really good sense of the intellectual quotient of the people on the planet and why we have attracted a government that we have in the United States. Just read the comments. I'm afraid to even comment. Oh, God, the comments. I'm afraid to even say it. Just read the comments. You get where I'm going with this. Read the comments on the podcasts, and you will get a sense of the temperature of the intellect and emotional IQ of people. I'll stay just in the United States. I'll just say it is really low. Okay, now I know where I was going with the shtick. Why I've been stressing having inner dominion over your mind, your emotions, and your body. If you don't have that clarity of yourself and your dominion, you will buy these shticks and then listen to the whole podcast. It doesn't even matter what they're saying. You've already been hooked in by the shtick. And that is the goal. They want you to be hooked in. And so many people just get hooked in. And the message is not even intelligent. They're not even funny. Some of them are hysterical. And I give them their point. I'm tempted to start this over, but I'm not going to. I promised myself I wouldn't do that. I'm going to stay in the moment. Don't get caught up in the shtick unless the content is valuable to you and authentic. Don't go with a cute stick and then think you have to listen to the rest of it. But the choices people make are a reflection of our consciousness. So whereas 1,000 people will respond to something that's absolutely ridiculous and a lie, someone who speaks the truth and has evidence and integrity will get 2 followers. And what that tells us is where the IQ is of our population. So, and as far as mine, I have no shtick yet. I don't even have the music yet. I don't have the quotes. I just have this little camera. And I'll see what I do with this. But if I ever become inauthentic, I expect you guys to call me out on it. Because I am really clear. I don't want to contribute anything that is a waste of my time and a waste of your time and is a wound that I haven't healed yet. So I'm giving you permission now. Call me out on any shtick that's inauthentic in the future as my territory widens. I'm confident of that, but it may not be until I'm dead. So I'm doing these for posterity. It's 2026. I may be dead and gone by the time you guys see this. So so much for shtick. Okay. Then so this is the one that really pushed my buttons today. There is a woman on there, claims to be a spiritual teacher. She so annoyed me that I actually looked up her page, her front page. She had thousands of followers. She's been doing this since about 2019, 2020. She's very confident in what she says, and I appreciate her effort. I couldn't listen to some of the things she was saying. I went to look at some of her reels, and they're inconsistent. She's, not the word hypocritical. She changes her viewpoints. She's changing up, and it's confusing if someone doesn't have their own barometer of what God is. So I'd like to address something she said. Okay. In my words, she's expecting and she's telling all her followers that God is coming down onto the planet with greater energy than he's ever had. He's going to go into the atheists, into the Buddhists, and she went on and listed everybody. That's number 2. And the third thing she says, and God's presence in people will have no bearing on the ways they lived their life. So God is coming down with a greater energy than he's ever had before. He doesn't care if you're an atheist, a Buddhist, a Catholic, a Jew, or whatever. That part I agree with. And it has no bearing on the ways we've lived our lives. So I'll start with the third one. I would really be upset if the God source that I am honoring, another touchy subject, would just come on down with a wand after I and many of you have done all your inner work to heal your wounds, to serve others, to work, make money, take care of yourself. I would be really upset if that God then took a magic wand and gave the same energy and blessings that I've earned to someone who's just been sitting on their chair, drinking whiskey, watching television, doesn't work, hasn't done any service, hasn't earned a penny, and is harmful, maybe even a criminal, and God's going to just come down and do a magical wand and say, you're free. I have a problem with that. I have a personal problem with that. I would feel slighted. I would feel mocked. And what the F? Okay, that's one part of it. The other part of it is, let me go to the second part first. I do agree. Well, you know how I feel about the religion thing. There's one God. There is one God. He has emissaries, maybe Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, whatever. There's angels, there's archangels. There is a hierarchy. But I don't think if you went straight to God, my experience is I went straight to God when I was really in trouble. I don't think he says, no, go back down and talk to Archangel Michael before you come to me. And actually, I will say, I don't think that if you appeal to God, he would say, excuse me, no, go talk to my son first. Now I'm violating the entire Christian religion, which actually Christ did not create. Another issue we'll talk about another time. So I said this in the very beginning. I don't, this religion thing, I think is just man-made, and it's about separating all of us. Then, now this is the one that really got me. God is coming down in the greatest and greatest energy than ever before. Now, if you know about energy, I can't yet speak on quantum physics. I'm not as learned as I'd like to be on that. But God has always been, will always be, just the way it is. Where is God going to go for more energy and more light than it already has? Where is it going to go? To a supermarket? To a grocery store? The nearest 7-Eleven? And it really irked me that she said that. Why are you telling people that God is coming down with the even greater energy than he had yesterday? And he's going to come down and wave a magic wand, and he's going to overnight restore the United States. I have a problem with that. And I don't know what her education is spiritually. I don't know what her background is. So why am I annoyed by that? I'm just annoyed that, guys, you can see it. I've been quiet all weekend. I have so much here, but I have problems expressing it. And I'm censoring myself. If God could come down with a magic wand and make this all better for us, now what is the purpose of our being here? What is the purpose? He could keep sending souls, keep waving his magic wand, send another group of souls, wave his magic wand, send another group of souls, wave his magic wand, the influx on the planet, off the planet, on the planet, off the planet. Earth is a school. We come here to learn. We are souls that are perfect. Here's my soul. We're perfect consciousness, perfect souls. When we come into this body, we grab a mind, we grab emotions, we grab a body. We're totally dense at that point. And then this body shows up. And I have to learn to not only navigate this planet and the physical level of the planet, I have the chore of remembering where I came from. But when we come into the body, the memory is erased. So that's number one loss, is when we come into the body, we're not given the memory. Well, we are, but tiny. We don't remember where we came from. So we have 3 tasks. The one, I don't know which would be the hardest. Okay, just navigating and learning how to navigate this planet. Shelter, food, how to keep this body going. Relationships, other people, cooperating with other souls, communication. I mean, that all has to be learned. Okay, then the second level would be contribution, creativity. What are you here for? What gifts did God put inside you to share on this planet Earth? Okay, so that would be the second thing. Third thing would be when you get sick and tired of the illusion of what's not working, that you realize you live in a box, that you really don't have control and willpower, you will, and your own, no matter how much willpower I have, and I have a lot, there still came a point where I was done. I maxed out. God, I don't know how to do this anymore. I mean, if I want to be a phony, I know how to do it. If I want to hide myself with a whole lot of money and, get, all dolled up with everything fake that's not me, I would survive the illusion. Which a lot of people live in the illusion. But when you catch on that this is not what God had planned for us, that there's something much higher called loving, compassion, forgiveness, fun, and joy, when you really realize that, I'm made for more, something is not right. When you utter that something is not right, that is the beginning of your seeking for God. That's all you have to say is something's not right, and he will swoop in with whoever he needs to swoop in with to start giving you downloads of information. And at that point, you start your spiritual journey. You find teachers, you find books, you find tapes, and you work yourself up through all the challenges. And in the challenges, you get to exercise your own wisdom, your own knowledge, and you start asking God, I need help with this, I need help with this, give me more wisdom. And then you get to the point where it's like, oh my God, this is a joke. My mind is crazy. My emotions are crazy. This body is doing all kinds of things I don't want it to do. And that's the point where you realize that you're not in control. And I'm not saying this right. I'm not saying this concisely at all. I have what I call mold chemical brain, chemo brain. So the ultimate is I'm totally lost, guys. Tom, are you still there? I see your thing right on my screen. Let me go back to home base. Home base was this woman is saying that God is coming down with more energy than he's ever had, and he's going to be sprinkling it on all of us. Regardless, and she didn't say this part, I'm saying this part, regardless of whether or not you're conscious, comatose, aware, alive, and awake. And I don't think that's God's plan. I think the way God returns to us, first of all, his energy doesn't change. It just is. I mean, it is. I don't know. You see, I'm at the point now where I just know that it is. So I can't even fathom what this woman is saying. I'm repeating myself. He's going to 7-Eleven and asking, can I have 10 pounds of more energy to sprinkle on the United States of America? And then going to Walmart and getting some more, and getting to Home Depot and getting some more. That's not it. God already has infinite. That's the word. If I was to write, I would say God has infinite energy. God is infinite. We cannot even fathom. We will never, ever fathom. Even when we die, when we go into the ocean of mercy and my soul blends in to the ocean, into the oversoul, I don't know, maybe then you do have a sense of the allness. People who have come back from tremendous awarenesses and retreats, they do come back with this sense of allness and the oneness from every level, in every, just I can't say I've been there, so I can't explain it. But I know, I know through trust, but I haven't sat under the Bodhi tree. I didn't get enlightened like Buddha, so I don't know that overnight enlightenment. I know baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. So anyway, the reason I say this is it's a lesson for me in being really ruthless and vigilant with what I share on my podcasts. And to be consistent. Unless I learned something better and I made a mistake, I would tell you, I made a mistake when I said this. I have a greater awareness now, and this is my experience now. And I think a lot of spiritual teachers, they don't do that. They make it seem like they just came in and, I'm putting my candle here. They came in and they got all this information like at birth. instead of really admitting to the congregation, I had to earn this. I had to earn, guys, I got the mirror here. I had to earn this consciousness. So if you're going around in circles with me, thank you very much. Tom, you're distracting me. So that's my beef for the day. I got the stick. So anyway, I don't think God's coming down with a wand. It's up to each one of us, I believe, and from my own experience of myself and people I know around me, is Earth is a school. We come down. We're all at a different level. Everybody has a different journey. Some souls are old. Some souls are new. Some are in the middle. Everybody's in a different place. And God just meticulously sends us the people and the situations and the circumstances for us to learn what lessons we need to learn. Okay, so I've said my piece. And what I do want to share that just came up actually, I've been saying that my algorithm, I don't want it out there. I just want my algorithm to be really tight and concentrated, and people who are really sensitive. Oh, I got a little heart. That's you, Tom. Thank you. Now I know you're there. I got a little heart up there. Sensitive people, artists, empaths, a lot of women, young, older women like myself are, I have to tell you, I am really distracted that there's one person watching. Can you imagine if there were more? Can you imagine if I had a chat page going on right now? I would be so distracted. So this is a lesson. Tom, you're teaching me. You're expanding me. So, so my audience, the sensitive people who've been thrown under the bus, like myself, over and over, but it only takes one to knock you out of your body. And for some reason, may not have made it out like I did. And I'm not fully out. I mean, you can see in my face, my body, I'm not out. I'm not free yet. But I've made it out of that insanity and evil. And so where was I? Empaths, sensitive souls, highly sensitive beings. I'll tell you a story before I go into this. I love to tell you my stories. It just came up. When I wanted to become a teacher, my favorite teacher, there's a point to this. The point is indigo children. I'm getting to what indigo children are. I'll go back to my story. So my favorite teacher was second grade, Miss Pelton, Peltyn. She must be left the planet a long time ago. Why did I like her? Why do I remember her? She paid attention to me. She, apparently I was very creative that I didn't even know, but she had a lot of creative projects for us. And I remember her using my projects several times as examples for the rest of the kids. And she would take my thing off the desk because I was very, focused, very serious. And she'd lift mine up. I remember one of them, and she would say, "This is what it should look like. This is how you do it." And she put it down. I remember that. And what I remember most is she acknowledged me. She knew me. I just knew that she knew me. I can't remember everything except that part. I wish I could remember the details, but even through college, I think I had one other teacher that I loved. So in my entire education, only two teachers stick out. A second grade teacher and a college professor at NYU. So somewhere along the line when I decided I was always working with children, so it was a natural place for me to go. But I decided I wanted second grade. Okay, so I'm in New York City. I'm graduating college. and 4,000 teachers were fired in New York City. And here I'm graduating, and I'm thinking there's no way I am not going to get a teaching job after all this work I've done and my dream and my passion. So I got a map of Harlem. I knew that there weren't jobs in upstate, north of where I lived, like Westchester, Scarsdale. I knew that those teachers were not going to leave their jobs, and they weren't firing anyone. So I knew there were no jobs there. And I had already worked with low-income students that really needed a lot of help. And I hate using the word low income, but it is really, they were more challenged in having their needs met, having their educational needs met, and also the schools weren't as good, of course. But anyway, so I got a map, and I just got on the train. I went downtown, and I looked up all the schools, and I just literally, I parked my car. No, did I go by train? No, I think I went by train because I knew I couldn't keep parking the car. So I'm just walking all around to all the different schools, and I was quite a walker back then. And so I'd literally go into the office. I would, of course, have to ask, do you have any jobs? And, of course, the answer would be no. And it was the day, 2 days before school was starting. And the answer from all of them was, our teachers are not coming back. We don't even know who's going to be teaching our classes. We are short of so many teachers. And so they pretty much, they were nice and respectful, but they pretty much said, we don't have anything. So I get to this other school, and I don't know what was different. Maybe my perseverance, maybe my persistence, maybe God said, okay, you demonstrated your intention is clear. The universe matched my energy of intention, and maybe those first visits had to clarify my intention in a stronger way. I had to go through some frogs and then ultimately come to the prince, to the school that I would end up in. And so I walked in, and I wasn't dismissed. They said, we're missing teachers. We don't know what's going on. School starts in 2 days. And the principal came out, and he said to me, I heard that you're looking for a job. And I said, yes. He says, well, I don't have anything. What the situation? I said, yes. He said, why don't you hang in? And he pointed to a chair by the clock where, at the end of the school day, we'd punch in our cards, So there I am sitting by this clock, and all these teachers are coming in, punching in the morning. I got there like 8:30. Oh, no, maybe earlier. I wanted to catch them early. So, skipping a lot of details, but I'm watching all these teachers come in. They're coming in with all their supplies, and they're getting ready to go into their rooms and make them all beautiful, which is what we teachers do. We prepare our class for the new students. It's thrilling. It's just thrilling to do that. You do all the bulletin boards. You make your little stations. You just make your home. I loved it. So anyway, I'm sitting by the clock. I didn't bring food. Duh. I sat at that clock from morning till 3 p.m. So I watched the teachers come in, punch in. They're in their rooms. I'm just sitting there, patient. Lunchtime comes. Some of them kind of wander in, chat a little bit because they haven't seen each other. They go out. Then it's empty again from like 12:30 to 3 o'clock. And I'm just sitting by the clock. How many hours at night? 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. That was 6 hours I was sitting there. It's a wonderful story. I love this story, but I'm still like that. I'm still like that. Anyway, so he comes out and he says, come in my office. And I went in, and he said, I do have a job for you. And I'm in shock, but I'm not saying anything. He said, I need a prep teacher. What a prep teacher is someone who goes to every classroom every 45 minutes to relieve each teacher for a break. So I would be going from class to class to class, relieving teachers. So it was up to me what I wanted to do with them. I could either do the teacher's lesson or some specialty that I wanted to do. And at the time, I really didn't have a specialty. Now I would do music, but I didn't have a specialty. So I looked at him. Now here I am getting a job while 4,000 teachers have been laid off. And this is what Barbara does. And this is what Barbara does in her life. It's so funny. How old was I? I was 21. Birthday was March, September, October, no, April, May, June, July, August. 6 months. I was 21 and a half. I kind of rushed through college. I raced through college, so I got out early. So I said to him, I really would love a second grade class. Talk about pushing it. This is what I do when I go into court and I represent myself and the judge says something and I go, but judge, but judge. And then I start, and then I do it again, but judge, what about this? And but judge, what about this? I push them to the edge. I do that. My friend will testify because he told me to stop. But I always get and achieve what I want. And it's not that it's not a manipulation. It's like, judge, what about this? Judge, what about this? Because he's not thinking of everything. We have to present our cases. So I go where other people would stop. So that's Barbara. So I said to him, thank you. I did say thank you. I said, is there any chance I could have, I didn't say any class. I said no, let me back up. I said, is it possible I could have a classroom? And he says to me, you want your own class, right? And I said, yes. I think I told him I just graduated college and this was my dream. And is it possible? But I'm going for an impossible thing, which is another thing Barbara does, is I have this knowing and sense of the impossible. And this is where people stop short. And this is where I want to suggest to all of you, don't stop short of your dream. Hang out, hold out for what you want. Even if you fall and faint, get up again and keep going until you get what you want. I still don't have what I want. I still have not reached that peak of the dream and mission I came here for, which is what kept me going through that 15 years of homelessness. It's like, this is not it. I know I'm not finished. So going back, we're in the principal's office. He says, so you want your own classroom? I said, yes. He leaves the office. He comes back with this teacher. I remember she had white hair. I used to remember her name. And he says to her in front of me, this is Barbara. Says my last name. I was married. And she's new. And I have a prep job for her to be the prep teacher. She knew what that was. And he said to her, would you be willing to give up your class for Barbara? She really wants her own classroom. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just sitting there and shock upon shocks. She says, yes. She was willing to give up her class to become a prep teacher, which means you don't have a classroom of your own. You don't have a family of children. You're just bopping from class to class, which is what I didn't want. So she said yes. And then he said to me, she has a second grade class. Do you believe it? I got my second grade class, which is what my dream second grade teacher. I wanted second grade. And then she says, on one condition, and she looks at me. I said, yes. And she says, I would like to come to your classroom first as the prep teacher, meaning she would come to my class at, let's say, 10 to 9, quarter to 9, and stay till 9:30, and that would be my prep period. The problem with that is that morning slot is the most important teaching time. for a teacher. That's the time you set the tone. That's the time you bring the children into alignment for the rest of the day. And that's the time where you pour into them, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, and let's go. So she wanted the optimum time from me. But you know what I said? I said, of course, you can have the first 45 minutes. So I ended up getting her class. So 4,000 teachers fired in New York City. I am getting a job and I am getting my own class. And there was another part. He couldn't guarantee I would get paid. He said he would fight for me at the district, but because 4,000 teachers were laid off, he couldn't guarantee that I would get paid. Now, I'm a newlywed. My ex is going to school, and we're just starting out. All we had was some wedding money. And so I said, that's fine. I said, that's fine. So I wasn't going to get paid. I didn't know if I'd ever get paid, but I wasn't getting paid. Okay. So now, there's so many stories just in these 2 days. I get my second grade class. Guys, I am all over the place as usual, but another part of the story was my ex drove me to work. My first day of school, and the way that they do first days of school in the public school systems is they open up the auditorium and every teacher holds up a sign that says, 2-302, like second grade, room 302. So I'm there holding up my sign. My ex drives me. I didn't know he stayed. And so I'm up there in the front because I'm second grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade. And so the kids are coming in one at a time. They're all looking for their assigned class. And so, all of a sudden, eventually, like 30 to 35 kids end up in my rows. I had 3-4 rows for my class alone, then the next. So these new students, my first class coming in, and when I got home, my ex told me, my husband said, I was standing outside the auditorium. I said, you're kidding. It's like, wow. And he said to me, one of the teachers came up to him and said, now this is an all-black school. My husband's white, Jewish. And she says to him, do you have a student here? And he says, yes. He says, yes. And he points to me, that woman over there. He points to me. My husband was sweet when we first married. He changed along the way, but so yes, he pointed to me as the new student. So that was really cute. So I get to march my children up to the class, and I really didn't have time to decorate it, so I had to stay after school to do that. So I got my second grade classroom. I forgot why I'm telling you the story. I don't remember why I'm telling you the story, but so I'll finish telling you the story. So indigo children, that's the topic. Indigo children. It doesn't matter how many notes I put here, guys. I lose it. Indigo children. Okay, so I'm in a second grade class. My rationale for second grade was not just that I loved second grade. It was bigger than that. Kindergarten, in my head, I never discussed this with anybody. I figured kindergarten, they were babies. They would literally be pulling on me, like, mommy, mommy, mommy. I didn't want to do that. First graders, I felt, was still kind of like pulling, but I could teach them the colors and the numbers and the alphabet a little bit. But I said, you know what, second grade, they probably know a little bit on how to communicate because I wanted to be able to communicate with them. So but then I said, well, what about third and fourth? And I got, no, I don't want third grade. I don't want fourth grade. Well, I stopped it. I didn't want third grade because I felt that once they got to third grade, if they didn't get a good teacher, which there's a lot of not good teachers, that they would get lost in the system. So my rationale for second grade is I wanted to not have babies, have somewhat of a foundation, but I didn't want them to get lost in the system. So I felt that second grade was where I could intervene, give them a solid foundation, socially, academically, whatever, that I could come right in that slot, and then I could give them what they would need, even if the next teacher and then the teacher after that, were not good. Okay, so I did that, and I did it well. Years later, I come out to LA, I'm divorced, whatever, and I am starting to take spiritual classes. I'm stuttering here. And I find out about something called indigo children. And, I'm just reading and learning about it. And indigo children are children that come onto the planet. And all children, when they come on the planet, they have some memory of where they've come from. Where you want to call it heaven, you want to call it spirit. And the way you know that children have come from somewhere else, have you ever run into a child who's playing in the park or in school, or your own children, where they come out with things that are so adult? Like a 3 or 4-year-old can say something that is just not appropriate for 3-year-olds. It's appropriate for 12-year-olds. In that moment, when you hear that, it's an old soul that's coming back. And it's speaking from the consciousness of its old soul. Prodigies, children that learn how to play the violin at 3. Piano players that learn how to play the piano by 3, 4, and 5. You see them all over on internet. These kids come in with the memory of a previous education. For them to just learn that, where are they drawing that information from? They have to have already, we call them prodigies because they're special, but really they're already coming in with that awareness and that knowledge. So going back to indigo children. So I'm learning about indigo children, which are children that as they become one, they still remember God. I'll say God. They still remember 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They still remember who they are. At a certain age, deliberately, the veil drops, so they don't remember, because it might be torture, really, for them to remember where they came from, because the world is not going to match that. And that's why a lot of us are so unhappy, is because we remember something better and bigger, and we know that what we're living is not it. We just know that. So there's something called the veil, that the veil comes down, and all those wonderful memories, children see angels, they see little playmates. Those are real. They are really seeing those things. So when the veil comes down, we forget. The purpose of forgetting is that we can start all over. We won't be so disillusioned right away. And we can do our life. We can get our new lessons. Indigo children are children where the veil does not come down. I don't understand why or where they say that choice comes from. I mean, it has to be spirit. The veil doesn't come down, and they still remember home. They still remember home. And they're usually quite autistic, creative, and intelligent. They call them indigo children because they haven't forgotten who they are. Now, they may not be able to label it, but someone with a discerning eye could see that's an indigo child. Now, going back to me in second grade. When I picked second grade, and I told you I picked second grade because I wanted to catch them. This was my own wording to myself. I wanted to catch them before they got ruined in 3rd and 4th and 5th grade if they didn't get a superb teacher. And I didn't want them, in babyland. I had no clue, and this is how spirit works. I was identifying that I wanted the grade where the indigo children, where the veil would either drop or stay up. That 7 and 8-year-olds was second grade, and that is when the veil drops or stays, in that 7 to 8 years. So here I am unknowingly, but instinctively claiming that I want to give the foundation, I want to give them the love and the care that they need to go forward, even if they're on their own. So I was picking the potential indigo children, and I do wonder till this day, because I know what kind of teacher I was, I wonder if I had any influence on whether some of those children maintained the veil off just by the fact that I created an extremely loving, respectful, caring, safe room. I don't know how I knew how to do that. I just intuited that that's what I needed to do more than the academics, but I was able to do both. So here I was, and I'm repeating myself for myself. Here I was knowing how to create a safe environment for them, that once they came in my doors, they were safe. Creative, teaching them social skills, how to respect each other, how to take care of the room, how to do it. By June, I mean, my kids were running the room by Christmas. But I somehow knew I was already picking the indigo children. So I'm just telling you, so my intuition was right. And I didn't even know that there I was in the midst of 7 and 8-year-olds where it was going to be decided whether or not the veil came down on them and the veil didn't come down. I would like to think that the way I prepared them and the environment that I created maybe kept the veil up. I have no idea where they are today. If I'm 73, they have to be 63, 53, because I was 20. So much for indigo children. So just so you know, 7 and 8-year-old, second grade children, there is a point where they either remember God and keep going with it, or they don't. And then they have to do their spiritual journey, and remember where they came from. So that's just like was a long story. So indigo children, another topic. And so where do I go next? I talk and talk. Oh, I did learn that I have to learn how to edit these because they're way too long. I've uploaded them, a couple of them. And yes, so where did I go with this? I have the word persecution down here that I came across today. And so I'll keep going with persecution. I never know how long I'm going. Let me just check. It is, I'm not bad. Okay. Persecution. One of the reasons that I want to work with highly sensitive, that's why I brought up indigo children. Highly sensitive souls. Many of them are indigo children. They come in with a high level of sensitivity because they remember spirit. So that was the point of indigo children. I have to redo all these. The point of indigo children was many empathic children, sensitive children, artists are indigo children. The veil did not come down, and they remember the loving. They remember God. They remember the pure consciousness. So that's why those of you who are in second grade, who might be indigo children, you are in my algorithm. Why? Because like me, I've had challenges where I almost forgot God. I'm not even forgetting, but I had it tugged out of me. I was so surrounded by so much negativity that I doubted. I gave up. I was upset with God, like, forget this. I don't think you really exist because this wouldn't be happening to me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I was reading something today, and it made sense to me. I can't validate it, but it makes sense. This guy was giving seminars on working with people who have what he's calling a persecution wound. He's identified a population of people that have been here before, are old souls, are really supposed to be out, being seen, doing their ministries, doing their missions, raising the energy on the planet, particularly now, and are not. And it's the same rationale that I've had for my algorithm. He said, we have had so many lifetimes of persecution, of being hung, of being crucified, particularly witches, the witch hunt with the women. So many of us have already been killed for speaking up and speaking out about spirit. And we have that memory, if only in the subconscious mind. And I think he's accurate. That his goal is to help people heal that subconscious persecution wound so that we can let it go and rise again in 2026. And to me, it reminded me of my intuition about the indigo children in wanting second grade. Is I feel like my being here on this podcast is to focus in and hone in on those, and I always say this, who are under the bed, in the bed with in a fetal position, having a nervous breakdown, or in the closet and are just hiding and refusing to come out and do what we need to do. But I never thought to say, but it was already in my intuition, that those are probably the people who have been persecuted, not just in this lifetime, but in many, many other lifetimes. So once again, I feel like I'm on target. I think my intuition is right on, just like it was when I chose second grade. I think the people I'll be attracting are those who have been persecuted in other lifetimes for standing up, being seen, being heard, and are afraid, legitimately afraid. And so this guy was just such a validation and verification, like, Barbara, you're on the right track. So that's my algorithm. People who have had lifetimes of persecution. It's not funny. Lifetimes of persecution plus this lifetime. And yes, I have information. I have information for you that helped me make it. So that's persecution. So we've gone from my tip of the day. I'm doing a television show. This is my television show. And I will have to figure out how to edit these. Okay, so my tip of the day was to get a really good bed. I try to make my tips funny, but this one's not funny. Can I think of a funny tip? Well, my customer service tip. I have all this stuff written down. It's so frustrating. So, first segment of my television show is tips. Do I dare tell you the next one? Okay, so I have to tell you something, guys. I wrote something down. What I need an artist, I need a comedian, and I need a songwriter. The reason I need an artist is because I can see pictures. I can see paintings, and all I can do is stick figures. It is so frustrating. I can't tell you how many years I thought of a concept of a picture, and I just wish there was an artist I can say, this is what I see. Can you paint it for me? And we both can put our names on it, on the bottom there. I've never done it. Okay, comedians. I get funny thoughts in my head, and they're funny to me. I mean, I will laugh by myself because they're hysterical. And I know that Spirit's telling me the joke. It's not coming from me, And, but I can't deliver it like a comedian. And I can't get the word level to make it hysterical. So I'm looking for a comedian. Then I'm looking for a songwriter. I have these concepts of songs in my head, but my song would be an hour long, like these podcasts, because I don't know how to take my information. Obviously, I'm demonstrating that I can't do this. I don't know how to take my information into like a 3-minute song. My song would be an hour. So I'm looking for an artist to help me paint my pictures, a comedian to help me rewrite my jokes, and a songwriter to help me write the songs that convey my hour-long message. So if anyone's available out there, let me know. So what reason I'm telling you this is I wrote something that I think is funny, but I know it's not funny yet. So I would want someone to rewrite this with me, but I have the concept. So do I dare read this to you? Can I read this? Okay. Guys, forgive me. Forgive me if this is really stupid. If you're a comedian, help me rewrite this. Okay, so the news of the day. This is my portion of the news. 15 minutes towards my tips. Now this is the news of the day. We're now 15 minutes into my television show. Jesus Christ resurrected today. He took one look at the United States. He calls up Mary and he says, I think I didn't make my point. Take me back to the cave. I'll try again. Now, to me, this is hysterical because I understand what I'm trying to say. But I think it needs to be written. So I'll say it again. If there's a comedian out there, Jesus Christ resurrected today. He took one look at the United States. He calls up Mary Magdalene. He says, what does he say? I think I didn't make my point. Take me back to the cave for a do-over. I need to do this over again. I know there's a hysterical joke in this. So if someone can rewrite this for me, because I think it's hysterical. Jesus made a mistake. He didn't make his point. He didn't finish his mission. He has to come back and he has to start all over again. So, okay, whoever the comedian is out there, help me with my joke. And then, so we have tips. We have my news of the day. Okay, so here is my entertainment. If they want, okay, so here's my entertainment for the day. I saw this, I'm stealing this from someone on Facebook. She comes on every day. I forget her name. Okay, so those of you who know my story, I got thrown under the bus by a particular spiritual path after being there for 37 years. I got blamed. I'm finally starting to laugh. I got blamed for their filthy slum property. Instead of them taking care of it, I started taking care of it, but I got in trouble and I got kind of sophisticatedly excommunicated. And it was devastating. It took 15 years to come out of that betrayal. So I don't want to get serious right now, but anyway, so she says, so of course I'm the villain in the story. And they gossiped about me, maligned my character. People don't talk to me anymore. Everybody believes them. And here I am 15 years later telling you guys on the podcast, I am going to expose it. I have the evidence. I lost everything, but I have the evidence. And so my entertainment for tonight, she said, if they want to paint you as the villain, pose, pose, pose. So that was funny to me. So it tells me if I'm going to be painted as the villain, I might as well, strut and give them something to look at, which is essentially what I'm doing with this podcast. So, so an awkward joke, awkward entertainment, and now I already gave you the spiritual segment ahead of time. Indigo children, persecution, imprint on old souls and why many of us have been afraid. Oh, I own this for myself. I too have been afraid to get out there. I'm used to being silenced, seen as the truth teller, the whistleblower that needs to be shut down. And I've talked a lot about the Matrix. So, but guys, I told you I'm done with the Matrix. I don't give an F about it. And so before I tell you about my exciting news, I did tell you guys if you've seen any of my podcasts, I think they're still out there. I saw this in a store. It's an hourglass. And I knew it was mine because it was just hanging in the most crazy place. And I didn't need to buy this. I don't need this. I don't buy things like this anymore. But I knew it was for me. And I knew it had to do with the Wizard of Oz. When Dorothy is really up there with the Wicked Witch and has no way to get out. And the Wicked Witch is holding her hostage with Toto. And the hourglass is almost over. And so I left, I don't know if you can see, but I have a little sand. Can you see that? I left a little sand. So I'm going to just let the sand go down right now. If you can see, I hope you can see it. You see the sand going? Okay, it just went down. Okay. Okay. This is my story. I think it's a lot of people's story. Just at the point where I had just a little bit of sand left in me to go on was the point where I really, I wasn't going to hurt myself anyway, but it was just like, God, this dream you put in my head, this mission you put in my head, this can't be right. I'm homeless. I have no money. I'm disabled now. I've lost everything. I'm not feeling very loving. I mean, I kept it, but I wasn't feeling very loving, and I was looking like crap. And it's like I got caught in the nick of time. And that's what this hourglass represents to me, is just when you go and you go and you go, and finally you just have a little bit of sand left. At that point, and there's many of those points actually, at that point, you've got to get up and keep going. If I gave up at any one of those points, I wouldn't be talking to you. I just kept on and kept on and kept on. And the only reason is I had this knowing of spirit that just got stronger and stronger and stronger. I didn't even know it was getting strong because I felt like I was hanging by a string. And I was hanging by just these few molecules, granules of sand. So now I know why I bought this, is to remind me that whatever's coming for me, don't give up. Keep going. Keep going until God stops our breath. I'm being forced to keep going, being disabled. I'm being forced to keep going. Of course, I'd rather look much healthier. I actually dressed to do this podcast. I usually don't dress. My hair's usually in a ponytail. I do my hair. I put on makeup. It doesn't help. I need a facelift. But I understand now to show up, to just show up without being concerned about those things. And of course, when I look in the mirror, I'm concerned about it, but I have to let it go. So that's another story about why I bought this. The only way you'll understand these podcasts if you go back to the first and watch them all, which are an hour, until I edit them. So what I did is I went to a music store, and the guy helped me learn how to convert these podcasts for TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. So I'm learning that. And it was so much fun. Once I knew how to do it, it was fun. But I was so toiling about it in my brain. Like, this is so hard. And how am I going to do this? And he just went boom, boom, boom. And I wrote down my notes. And I said, let me do it twice in front of you. And I did it successfully. And then I went to the front of the store to not bother him because he was at work. And I said, can I come back to you if I get stuck? Yes. So I go to the front of the store and I uploaded about 6 of them. And so, I mean, I know the process now. I felt so wonderful and so accomplished because here I am doing these and they drop in 30 days. I didn't know how to preserve them. I said I did lose a couple, my favorite one. So what I did while I was there, they have music lessons. So I went to the back and I met him at Christmas time. Why did I meet him at Christmas time? Oh, because I was looking for a setup for podcasts. And he had a very expensive setup, and it was overwhelming. I'm not ready for that. But now that I understand what I need, now I understand what that machine does. So I told him that. I said, now I understand why you wanted me to have that machine and a microphone. And so I signed up for my first voice lesson in my new life. It's the week after next week. It's complimentary first. The reason I'm doing a complimentary one is I really don't know if she can do anything right now with my throat because I am in chemicals and mold for years. My vocal cords, I don't have nodules, but they're swollen and inflamed. I'm very hoarse. I can't even hit an alto note, let alone up there. But maybe she can help me get started. So I am so excited. I am so excited that I'm doing this again. I feel like I lost 15 years and all that work I did. So I'm just excited. So when I left the store for my transportation, I take this transportation to either an Uber or this disabled access van where like 2 or 3 people are in there. And so I get in, and I had this big smile on my face. I felt like the sun was shining. I was excited about advancing my podcasts. I know what to do. And I don't have the budget to this. People who would do this for me if I had the budget to pay them, but I have to do it myself right now. So, and then the voice lesson, I got a tour of all the studios. To be honest, I signed up for another instrument, but I'm not going to tell you yet. I signed up to take a lesson, voice lesson, and a lesson for another instrument. I wasn't going to say anything, but I can't hold it in. So I'll let you know about that one. It's something I've always wanted to do. Well, I want to play every instrument, but I picked this one out for a reason. So I have 2 music lessons coming up. My dream, if I was to get my full dream in this lifetime, I dare say it, I'm 73 already, I would love to play every single instrument. It doesn't have to be the Indian instruments, but I'd love to play the basic instruments like the piano, the guitar, the saxophone, the violin, the drums, the bass. I mean, I'm okay with just those. So, see, I'm a belated indigo child. I didn't find the people to support my indigo heart. So here I am at 73, seeing if I can redo it. Oh, like Jesus. Yes. Okay. So I'm asking my Mary Magdalene, I'm asking you, please. I didn't make the point of my life. I didn't do my ministry fully. Would you take me back to the cave so I can start over? That's interesting. A parallel story. I was resurrected this weekend, and I'm getting to start my music again. So I come out of the store. I didn't know I was glowing. I do not glow in this place. And I do not glow when I leave because I really want to be here resting my feet up, ice on my back, and watching a little television, listening to some music. So I'm not pleasing myself. So I get into the van, I roll my walker up, I sit down. I don't remember all I know is he picked up my energy. I don't know how we got on the subject, but he saw my personality. He named it. I was in Barbara. I was centered in all levels of myself. I was in my high self, I was in my conscious self, and I was in my basic little inner child. My inner girl was glowing. We're getting to take this secret instrument. We're going to try this instrument, the most impossible one, I think, and we're going to sing, and now we know how to put up our podcasts. So I got to see how, I'm getting goosebumps. Oh my God, can you see the hair on my arms? When I get goosebumps and hair, I know Spirit's present. So here I am in his van, and I smiling for smiling. You get it. And he picked it up, and he commented about it. Like, well, you have this, and you have this. And essentially, you know what he was telling me? He said, but I already knew this. But he named my ministry. He said, he knew he was taking me here to this assisted living. He said, you should be out there healing people and bringing joy to people and just giving them some sunshine. And I sat there going, how does he know? How does he know that that is what my purpose is? And I got to see that I still can do it, because I feel morbid sometimes because my life is so challenging. But I was so lit up by being in a music store with all these instruments. I'm repeating myself, getting a voice lesson, starting over, doing a secret instrument in addition, getting complimentary lessons first. And I already know when the sale is to sign up for more lessons. They are very reasonable. I mean, they're like 1/4 the price of a real voice teacher that's out there. And I know how to upload my podcasts. The next thing is I have to learn how to edit them. So I was glowing. He picked it up. He called out my ministry and my purpose. And that was so God talking to me. Like, yes, this is your assignment. Yes, you're going to get to do it. You thought you weren't going to get to do it. You're going to get to do it. So that's my joy for this weekend. And it feels like in alignment with my assignment to us was to locate our bondage. Like when the Jews left Egypt quickly, they couldn't even let their bread rise. They had to leave. And I haven't had any matzah. We'll talk about matzah another day. But that they were in bondage and they left with Moses for freedom. And that Jesus comes and he picks up all the souls that are willing to learn about letting go of their sins and mistakes, forgiving themselves, and getting free to start over. So this weekend for me was, and I didn't even plan this, for me was letting go of my bondage. I'm still going to expose my story and tell my story, but I'm not attached to it like I was in the past. And took my voice lessons, uploaded my podcasts, and off I go. And then I came to this room. Couldn't wake up because of the smell. So how do we end this? How do we end this? Well, one is keep my candle here. I have my tissues for tears. I have my supplies. I haven't been talking about my passion project, but I'm clearly, I just realized, even my visit, I didn't even make the connection. My passion project is to sing. See, this is how God works. When you commit to a dream, he just brings it forward. You just saw what happened. I didn't even connect my first voice lesson with my passion project. God did it for me. My passion project is to get my voice back, learn new music, get a teacher, find my musicians, have my charts made, and have my big band opening for all of you to come to, wherever it is. I didn't even plan on looking for a teacher yet, and it came to me. This is how I may have to do this passion project for myself to prove to you guys how manifestation works. And so yes, see, this is the point where I know I have to stop and I don't know how to stop. It is after midnight. Again, if you could put me in your prayers, guys. I come on and I smile with you, but to be honest, behind this pad of mine with notes on the other side, it's morbid. And I did upload a video of the carpet. I have to upload the vacuum cleaner full of dirt. I wish I could upload the smell. I need a witness for that. So I have all this information for court. So anyway, guys, I am asking God to help me out of this bondage into a clean, safe, wonderful, happy, sunny apartment or house, whatever comes. So, Father, Mother, God, shoulders down, breathing in. And dear Source, Universe, God, Jesus Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, Archangel Michael, all our angels, Archangel Raphael, I don't know all the names, all our ancestors that have fought before us, we call you forward right now. We ask that you be with us through every trial and tribulation. We ask you to help us get free of the matrix, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and socially. And I'm trusting this for those we have lost in our lives, that we still remember at times like this, these kind of holidays. We ask you to help us remember that they never died. They're still here with us. They are graduated, and we should be happy for them. We are happy that they graduated. We are happy that they got out of some real painful, suffering bodies. And even though we hated to see them leave, we know you, God, well enough to know that you have them in your arms, that you've escorted them to their next level, and that they're happy to be out of the physical, dense body. So, Lord, at this Passover-Easter season, we ask that you continue to set us free from the bondage of people, places, things, and circumstances that do not celebrate us, that do not honor us, that do not value us. I'm seeing the Jewish slaves right now. That do not diminish us, do not make us small, attempt to make us small. And we ask you to help us rise up, to rise up above the Judases that have taken us down and sold us out for money, for a few shekels. They sold us out and sold us down the water, sold us out and betrayed us. And we thank you. We thank you for bringing that Judas forward, that threw us under the bus, that betrayed us, so that we would find the better things that you have for us. And we know that as Jesus resurrected, as the Christ consciousness resurrects in all of us right now, I'm talking about that I, the I am, Christ consciousness, which is not Jesus the man, but a consciousness. We ask that this Christ consciousness in every denomination, every culture, every religion, every gender, etc. I'm seeing a flame that just fires up and ignites us into the full capacity that you gave us, so that we could know you even greater within ourselves and with each other, with respect, with dignity, and loving support and caring. And we are so grateful that we have you to turn to. And we trust that we will be healed of all our infirmities. And so it is. Amen. 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 So God bless you. If you're on Facebook, I did post a video of me singing right before my 15-year wilderness. And I was at a party. I'm so glad I have that video. It shows me that I'm not making up what happened. I was vital. I was happy. I was singing in a living room full of my friends. And, you know, I was still learning, but it's just a special tape. And so if you're on my Facebook, scroll down. It's somewhere. I posted it yesterday. So good night. God bless. And tomorrow. Bye.